Welcome back to Kind Regards, the show. I read an author called Paul Kingsnorth, who he's brilliant. I recommend him. Check him out. And he was largely involved in the environmental movement in the UK in the 90s and noughties before he sort of broke away and took other sort of positions on the whole issue. He's got a great book called The Confessions of a Recovering Environmentalist, which sounds quite, it's an editor's, or it's a publisher's title. It's quite provocative, but he's very insightful, he has great perspectives. He's great. Anyways, he makes a comment about how he's got a buddy of his, a writer buddy, who's trying to get independent, trying to minimize his footprint, trying to, escape the capitalist machine, the technologist machine as best he can. And this guy literally lives in a cabin in the woods, and he does pretty well, but he does own a bicycle. He rides his bike from his little cabin to the bus stop and then catches the bus to see his loved ones now and then. And he did not make this bicycle on his own. Somebody made it, probably in Japan or something, and it got shipped all the way over here on the big container ships that are polluting our oceans and running over dolphins and doing all that bad stuff. And, it was probably a multinational conglomerate that lobbies governments that made the bike in the first place, and the investment that funded the bike's construction is probably BlackRock and blah, blah, blah. Ipso facto, full independence is not possible. This is the point that Kingsnorth is making here. You might be able to carve your own wooden spoons and hunt your own meat and gather your own water from the streams and build your own hut out of wood and stones, but there will be something. There will be a shovel, something that you don't make, that is made for you by some corporation, some baddie in the machine out there. And this is the design of the machine. This is Kingsnorth's other point, is that the machine is designed to be totalizing. It's designed to colonize every facet of our lives and sell every chance it gets. It wants to be total. It is a totalizing system. And so what are we to do, right? That's sort of Kingsnorth's question. Clearly, giving up on the dream of some sort of independence or on the idea that independence from the machine is a positive thing, rather than giving up on that and settling for total dependence. Is total dependence a good thing? Excuse me, surely not. Surely we can see that the more the machine colonizes our human lives, the worse things get. Surely we can see that. Or rather, the worse things get in various, it depends on how you measure it, right? The machine measures it in GDP and, the ease and convenience and the profit generated. And in these senses, it's never been better. The machine is flourishing. Things are going great. But clearly, the ecological problems that we're facing, the breakdown of community, the breakdown of the family, huge rates of mental health disorders, addiction, all of these things, the loneliness epidemic I hear said sometimes, all of these aspects, things are going very poorly. And so we do not want full dependence, the outsourcing of everything. There's a service that you can get in Japan where you can send a compassionate person to go and visit your dying relatives if you can't make the time. You can even outsource the compassion towards your own family members, Nuts. So full dependence, you take the machine to the very end to paid surrogacy and, all kinds of whack stuff, and it gets nuts and not good for us. I think that's pretty clear. So I won't hammer home that point. So full dependence, we don't want that. Full independence, probably impossible, probably not even desirable. So Kingsnorth's perspective is, what should we do? Is one of the best ideas I've heard so far, is draw a line and do not cross it. Kingsnorth has no smartphone. That's one of his. He just refuses. He does use the internet to publish his work. That's a line that, he didn't draw. But he said, I'm not going to use a smartphone. I don't need it. I don't want it. And I'm going to refuse to cross this line. I'm going to refuse to let the machine pull me into this threshold. Personally, I do have a smartphone, though I'm conflicted about its value. I've drawn a line. I don't talk to robots. I've decided that I'm not ever going to do that. I don't do it on the phone, when they call and they say, what is your problem? Please describe it in 3 words. I don't do that. Robots, I don't think they deserve to be talked to. I don't like it. I think it's disgusting. I think we should only talk to human beings. Obviously, I'm talking to a camera, which is a bit of a mediation, and call me a hypocrite, but this content is designed for people. And I just don't believe in that. I don't believe in talking to robots. And so I've drawn a line there, but I think that's a solid way to do it. And I think there's a million ways that we can draw lines. Werner Herzog only has 1 pair of shoes at any given time. He's a filmmaker, a famous filmmaker. Check him out. He's the best. He's so good. He's so good. He makes all kinds of documentary and otherwise films, narrative, normal feature films. He's brilliant. But he says, I just want to resist this ridiculous urge of, oh, well, you need fancy shoes for the fancy occasion. You need these shoes. What if it's a semi-fancy occasion? Well, then you should have these cool Converse, but you can't get them dirty, so don't wear them outside. Only wear them to fancy events, but not too fancy events. That's where the black shoes are. And then you need flip-flops, and then you also need Birkenstocks in case you're getting brunch afterwards. You don't want to wear flip-flops to brunch. Oh my God. He's like, he doesn't say any of that. That's all me. But, the machine is totalizing. It wants to get in every different mood that you have and sell your product for that mood. It wants to get in every different setting that you exist in and sell your product for that setting. It wants us to have 10 pairs of shoes, and it is ridiculous. We don't need it. It's absurd. We should just have one pair of shoes and just let the world accept that. Go to a fancy thing with slightly underdressed shoes. What's going to happen? What is going to happen? Nothing's going to happen. It's going to be fine. But obviously, draw the lines where you're comfortable. This is just an example. I spoke to a pastor that I know who's a great guy, and he said that he spoke to a lot of builders. He used to be a builder before he found God, and a lot of them made a lot of money. And he said, what are you guys still doing? You have millions of dollars, tens of millions, some of you. Individually, he spoke to them, and he said, why are you still doing this? And they apparently all said the same thing, which is, it is never enough. It is never enough. You keep making money, and then you keep wanting to make money. It continues on and on and on, and you get sucked in. You draw a line, you say, okay, 1 million, turnover a year, that'd be great. And then you get to that and you go, what would be even better? 1.5. And it just keeps going. Draw a line and do not cross it. Draw a line and say, you know what? If I made this much a year, I could donate any extra. I don't need that. Do I need 5 holidays in a year, or do I just need 1? I'm not deciding these things for you. Maybe you need 10 because otherwise you go crazy, and that's what you live for, is travel and meeting new people and all this stuff, So power to you, if whatever your thing is. I'm not trying to diss anyone's thing, but we all, I think, would be wise to draw these lines. I wrote down some examples. Please excuse me. Clothes, cars, homes, salary, meals out, jewelry, tech, conveniences. These are all realms in which we can say, I'm going to resist the marketing. I'm going to resist the general culture's attitude of more is best. Nice products are good all the time. Keep outsourcing, keep sinking into the machine's desire for consumption. I'm going to resist these things. Because ultimately, if you do not decide how to run your own life, if you do not decide how much money is enough, somebody else will. Somebody else will. Someone else will tell you that you need more, and they'll be pretty damn convincing about it. Look at how convincing they are. Look at how many people have way more than they need and still feel like they don't have enough. It's everywhere, right? Like, just the fancy cars. I looked over and just saw a sign for limousines. You know, it's classic. There's a bunch of beach houses behind me. Some of them are sweet and humble, little fibro things with a nice balcony. They're little sweet homes, and others are just gross mansions, just filthy glass. They make anyone who looks at it feel gross, I reckon, except for the person who owns them, and that person probably wants a bigger one. If you don't decide, somebody else will. The culture will decide for you. The machine will decide for us. And so, yeah, I think when we're thinking about this independence, dependence dichotomy, the best, the most humane thing that we can do is think about the problem, think about what our real needs are, think about what's good for us, how much above our base needs, you know, can we justify, can we enjoy, can we be okay with, and draw the line there, and don't shift it. Don't let someone tell you that it needs to be different. Don't let the marketing or whatever tell you differently. I hope that's a helpful idea. Yeah, partly in response to a commenter on a video, a couple videos back. So I hope that's helpful if you're watching. But yeah, take care, everybody. This has been Kind Regards. Thanks very much. Check out the Substack, and there's YouTube and Spotify, so whichever one you prefer. Check that out. Thanks very much. Take it easy.